Pittsburgh Steelers rookie running back Kaleb Johnson says he's the next Derrick Henry. So, Kaleb Johnson has the full belief he is the power of Derrick Henry, but the versatility and quickness of Dalvin Cook. But first, before I get more into what he said in his quotes, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn notifications for everything Pittsburgh Steelers news and updates. Also, like this video. Now, let's get right into it. So, it's never a bad thing when your rookie running back has high expectations for himself and comparing himself to the best of the best. And one of those players is Derrick Henry. And he's been doing it for quite a long time now, being a powerful, bruising back in this league, someone who's dominant over the years. But also, he compared himself not only to a power back, but a versatility back, and someone who had a good prime in Dalvin Cook. So, you could obviously tell that Kaleb Johnson, he wants to not only be a power back, but a pass-catching back as well. A do-it-all player who could play on all three downs. So, let's get right into what he said and his quotes. Here it is. I feel like I'm a versatile back. I can be a Derrick Henry back, or I can be a Dalvin Cook back. And I felt that's what separates me from a lot of backs in this league and in this class that I came into. Overall, I feel like I'm a fast back, and I could be a strong back also. Catch the ball out of the backfield, I'm really reliable. End quote. So, when looking at Johnson, that's a great mindset to have. Not only having a comparison to a 2,000-yard back in Derrick Henry, someone who's been a bruising back in this league for a long time, but also a pass-catching back, because you need to be able to do it all. If the box starts stacking up, you need to be able to catch the ball out of the backfield and be a reliable option for your quarterback to dump the ball off to. But not only that, a guy who's able to maybe line up on the outside or line up on the inside in the slot and make some catches. Just like we saw Le'Veon Bell do multiple times in Pittsburgh when he was a running back here. So when the timing gets tough, Johnson, he believes he could be a pass-catching back as well. So even though Johnson's 40-yard dash time was only 4.57 seconds, he had several long touchdown runs in college, just like we see Derrick Henry have all the time. So if Johnson has a lane, his top speed can be a problem for defenses. And Mike Tomlin didn't seem concerned about his speed, and apparently Johnson doesn't think it's going to be a problem either. So right now, Dalvin Cook is a free agent. But a few years ago, with the Minnesota Vikings, he was one of the most electric running backs in the league. And Johnson compared his game to Henry, but there was a lot more shiftiness in Cook's game, paired with his 4.49 second yard speed. So those are two different backs with different styles, which makes it so interesting for Johnson to compare himself to them specifically, because you don't really see many people compare themselves to Dalvin Cook. When they compare themselves, yes, Derrick Henry gets more of the buzz because he's been doing this for a longer time, but not many people mention Dalvin Cook. But he had a really good prime. He was a really good pass catcher. He was a really good player in terms of making cuts, being a shifty back. And he was also able to be a power back as well a little bit here and there. So when looking at Johnson, he fits the Steelers' mold at running back. He's big, he's tough, and fights for yards. However, unlike Harris, there's some juice and burst to Johnson's game as well. And when you look at Derrick Henry and that comparison there, Derrick Henry is a player who, if he has a lane, he's gone. If you can't lay your hands on Derrick Henry and get him for a tackle, he's going to break the tackle in the open field at the second level, and he's absolutely gone. You won't even touch him. He's a player who get that high-end speed, and Dalvin Cook as well. If Dalvin Cook breaks your ankles, he's able to reach the end zone. So both those comparisons are really good comparisons for Johnson. And if he's able to mold into a combined player between the two, that would be the best running back in the NFL and the best case scenario for the Pittsburgh Steelers as a second-round draft pick. So the Pittsburgh Steelers, they get Caleb Williams in the draft, and he's going to work his tail off. And obviously, you see the determination to already be a great back. He's not just settled and just happy to be in the NFL. He wants to prove that he's the best of the best. So that's something the Pittsburgh Steelers want and got in Caleb Johnson. Now, just to go through a little bit more of the interview that Caleb Johnson did with the PittsburghSteelers.com, he was talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers division, the AFC North, and how it's a physical division, and how he's really used to that kind of smash mouth football, and he's ready for it. So here's this quote on that. I feel like it relates to the Big Ten, and what I played in, I feel like I'm really used to smash mouth, running the ball football. I'm just really excited to get to work and really excited to be a part of this organization. End quote. So, I want to break this down into a different video, but his stats were crazy. Caleb Johnson was an absolute beast on the field and in college. And over 3 seasons at Iowa, he rushed for 2,779 yards. But I'm not even talking about that. His touchdowns were insane, going for 30, but his yards in specific games hitting 200 plus many times. He was just an absolute beast. And he was doing this, like he said, in the Big Ten. So he's used to that competition, and he's used to that hard-nosed football. And that's exactly what the Pittsburgh Steelers division is versus the Bengals, versus the Ravens, and even versus the Browns. It's really that hard-nosed football, and Johnson's ready for that. And when you get a player who wants to play that kind of style, wants to play that hard-nosed physical football, then you're getting a good player who's ready for it. And it's funny because his game translates to that. When you look at what he did at college and look at his film, he's a player who plays with that physicality. He isn't a player who kind of goes away from it or is afraid to get hit, in terms of maybe what we saw with Najee Harris a little bit, where he didn't want to embrace that contact and he maybe wanted to run away from it. So Johnson is a player who comes in and he's ready for that, to be physical. And that's exactly what Derrick Henry brings to the AFC North. He came over from the Titans and joined the Ravens last season, and he brought that hard-nosed football. So we're going to have Derrick Henry in our division for a minute now, for a while, until he's done with the Ravens. And now we're adding Caleb Johnson, who's also in this division on our team, who wants to be like Derrick Henry and compares his game to Derrick Henry. Having 2 Derrick Henrys in this division is going to be unstoppable. And it's going to be really fun to watch, just in terms of watching this AFC North matchups years and years down the line. So, Johnson, he's a durable running back in terms of what he showed on the field, pass catching, but also running the ball. And it's going to be interesting to see how the Pittsburgh Steelers use him in his rookie season. But he's a player who obviously wants to be on the field more than just the first 2 plays or the first play. All 3 downs is what he's looking to do. The Steelers already have Jaylen Warren, who's established on this team. So it's going to be interesting to see how they kind of utilize those 2 backs. But they did that with Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren, so I'm not afraid that Caleb Johnson's going to get overshadowed. He should have a role on this team, even though he's a rookie. But he's someone who I'm very excited to watch play. Probably the most exciting draft pick in this entire NFL draft for me personally on this team. Anyway, that's in this video. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments below on Johnson comparing himself and saying that he is Derrick Henry and Dalvin Cook. Do you like those comparisons? Who would you compare him to? Or do you believe that he is a versatile running back in those 2? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And also, make sure you subscribe to this channel and turn notifications for everything Pittsburgh Steelers news, updates, highlights, analysis, reports. Everything surrounding this team, I've covered it so far this offseason. I'll continue covering it as we move along in the offseason and getting ready for camp in the regular season. So stay tuned, like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications for this channel, and until next time, I'll see you guys all later. I'm out. Peace.